Consider the highly self-aware survivor. She can name her attachment style, she understands her history, and she knows exactly why certain relationships are bad for her. Yet she still finds herself completely frozen, unable to stop answering the texts from a toxic ex or repeating the same destructive patterns. For decades, psychiatry operated on a specific model. The assumption was that psychological suffering should be managed through intellectual insight and verbal processing. If you could understand your trauma, you could talk your way out of it. But that intellectual understanding hits a wall the moment a trigger occurs. You can consciously know you should walk away from a destructive argument, but your chest tightens, your breathing shallows, and your body locks you in place. A perfectly constructed left brain report on why a situation is harmful has zero effect on the nervous system's biological alarm bells once they start ringing. The proof of this disconnect comes from a landmark clinical study. Researchers placed a 40-year-old trauma survivor named Marcia into a PET scanner and played an audio script detailing her traumatic accident from 13 years prior. The machines recorded a violent physiological storm. Her heart raced and her blood pressure spiked, recreating the exact biological state of the original accident in real time. To her nervous system, those 13 years did not exist. The imaging showed the accident replaying as a present-tense biological event that overrode her baseline state. During a flashback, the right hemisphere takes command. The amygdala detects a threat, and the visual cortex replays raw sensory images. This alarm floods the body with stress hormones, mobilizing muscles for survival. But on the left side, Broca's area goes completely dark. Broca's area is the hardware responsible for converting physical sensations and experiences into spoken words. When someone is heavily triggered, they are not choosing to be silent, stubborn, or difficult. The physical machinery required to generate a coherent narrative has been powered down. Asking them to talk through a trigger is a neurological impossibility. When overwhelming stress happens repeatedly and escape is impossible, the underlying architecture of the nervous system adapts to that reality. In classic experiments, dogs subjected to unavoidable electric shocks stopped trying to run away. Even when researchers opened the cage doors, the dog simply lay down and endured the shocks. This biological state is called learned helplessness. The nervous system calculates that taking action is useless, so it actively suppresses the fight or flight response to conserve energy. This suppression creates a state where stress hormones keep firing without an off switch. In human terms, the body becomes sensitized, reacting to a minor trigger as if it were a life-threatening catastrophe. This is why insight alone cannot reopen the cage. For a survivor in a destructive dynamic, the nervous system has calculated that the known danger is safer than the unknown void. They aren't lacking willpower. They are functioning within a nervous system architecture that has suppressed the very impulse to escape. This creates a clinical dilemma. You cannot talk your way out of a state that your brain doesn't have the language to process. If the verbal center is offline, asking someone to explain their feelings is like asking them to type on a broken keyboard. This is why physical interventions like movement and deliberate breathing rhythms are required. They bypass the language center entirely, speaking directly to the body of the body. Taking a deep physiological sigh serves a mechanical purpose. It signals safety to the nervous system, which forces the speech centers in the left brain to boot back up. The processing of trauma starts by recognizing exactly where the threat lands in your body, noticing the tight jaw or the racing heart before attaching a story to it. Using the breath to create a physiological interrupt allows the storm to pass, directly restoring power back to Broca's area. With the left brain fully online again, the capacity for language returns. You can finally sequence the events, build a coherent narrative, and clearly communicate with the people around you. You cannot logically narrate a threat while your body believes it is actively fighting for its life. Establishing physical safety in the nervous system has to happen first. Then you find the words.